Intellectual dishonesty is advocating a position one does not know to be true, or omission of relevant aspects of the truth. And as you can see by the definition, we are all guilty of intellectual dishonesty at one point or another. But it's something to be avoided at all costs, I think, if we are to be, honest with each other, and if we are to be, in search of the truth, whatever that may be. Intellectual dishonesty has no place in the search for truth. Now, there are a few specific examples that I'd like to bring up today. And it being Memorial Day in the USA, I thought I'd start with that one. It's similar to Remembrance Day in Canada and other places, which happens in November each year. It is the celebration of war and those who fought in wars, or those who are currently fighting in wars. I guess you could call them warriors. People who kill for money, and people who support those who kill for money. And to me, this is not intellectually honest. This is full of intellectual dishonesty. The celebration of war by people who promote peace. Are you not for peace? Do you not believe in the concept of being peaceful, of not hurting and killing other people? I believe in that. Some people would say it's naive to believe in peace, or that I'm a hippie if I believe in peace. But I'm not ashamed to believe in peace. And, if you are ashamed of that, I'm sorry for you. But that's what I believe. I believe in a world that has as much peace as possible and as little violence and killing as possible. And to celebrate war, and to celebrate warriors, and to say, support the troops, is intellectually dishonest if you believe in peace. So no, I do not support the troops, and I do not celebrate Memorial Day or Remembrance Day. Another one is animal rights. Do you believe that animals should be tortured? I'm talking about non-human animals here. Do you believe that animals have at least some rights to their lives, to being, kept as free from pain and suffering as is possible? I do. I don't think that any animal is, supposed to be subject to suffering and pain. Suffering and pain are, of course, part of life. We can't get through life without suffering, without pain. But to subject it to each other and to other animals on purpose, for our own benefits, or just because, is not right. Now, if you're with me in supporting animal rights, at least to some degree, do you eat animals? And if so, do you eat animals that come from a grocery store or restaurant? Because the sad fact is, today, 100% of animal products, animal meat, and other stuff that comes from animals that were tortured. They were tortured to keep the price down. The discount you get when you buy that nice steak for $4 at the grocery store and take it home and throw it on your barbecue was given to you because the animal was tortured. It was tortured because it's born into slavery. It has no choice but to live out its life, usually in a very inhumane way, in a very painful and unnatural way for that animal. And often its death is not very pleasant for the animal either. Now, these animals that we eat all happen to be, well, mostly anyways, other than, fish and mollusks and things like that, but mammals and birds do feel pain. They do suffer. They do have emotions. They have families. They have feelings. They have memories. And just because they can't speak English and say, I don't condone this activity, I don't consent to being your slave, to providing you with breast milk, for being turned into chicken nuggets and ground up and fed to you and your other animals. So just because they can't say that and articulate that to you, just because when they cry, it doesn't sound like a baby's crying, a human baby's crying, or a human's crying, it's easy to say that it's okay. But it's not okay. So if you believe in animal rights, and you eat animals that were tortured so that their meat is cheaper for you, that's intellectual dishonesty. And lastly, but certainly not least, would be the topic of religion. Do you support the concept of truth? It's an overused word, I know, but it does have a definition. And I do believe in truth. I do believe in trying to get as close to the truth as we possibly can with the tools that are given to us. And to purposely move away from the truth and accept stories, ideas, dogma that has no ability to be criticized or looked at skeptically is intellectually dishonest. And no, religion does not get a free pass just because it's religion. None of the religions of the world are based on truth. They're based on faith, which is the absence of truth. Faith is accepting things that are not true because you're told to do so. And when you do that, you submit yourself to lies. There are no religions on this planet that are truthful, and yet many of us partake in these religions, their ceremonies, their rituals, their beliefs, their violence, their intolerance. And then we call ourselves people that are after the truth. Some of us even call ourselves truthers. And yet we subscribe to these false paradigms, these systems of dogma based purely in faith, and then get upset when someone tries to apply reasoning or logic or truth or evidence to these things. We live our lives like this. Entire countries exist on these religions that are violent and hateful and that contradict themselves continuously. So that's my discussion on intellectual dishonesty. Something I believe needs to be cut out. And yes, these things do need to be examined. We do need to have these discussions. It's very important. I'm going to disable the thumb up and thumb down options on this video because I believe if you disagree with me, you should say why. Show a little intellectual honesty. And have a nice day.